Hello and welcome to this Li-ning turbocharging 70 badminton racket review, and this is racket number 641. 657 rackets now on the Badminton Racket Review E-Zone. Absolutely phenomenal. So this racket number 641, what should we start with? Let's start with the price and availability. So the turbocharging 70, slightly harder to get hold of in Europe and UK. The turbocharging 75 is available, slightly harder to find the turbocharging 70. Price is expected around the £150 mark. We are selling the rackets at our racket sales site at www.badminton-racket-review.com, probably around £130–135, which would make them damn cheap compared to the rest of the world. Okay, so in terms of the racket specs, we shall go through these specifications as we normally do and compare them to our own E-Zone testing. So the overall weight of this racket should be around 87 to 81 grams. The E-Zone testing shows this racket to weigh nearly 92 grams in weight. The balance point of this racket is 295 plus minus 2 according to Li-ning, so that kind of just edges it in this direction. The E-Zone balance point test shows this to have a very head heavy bias, so a little bit further. I would agree with that. There's definitely weight leaning towards the head. The shaft stiffness of the racket is showing here to be stiff, towards stiff I would say, and the E-Zone testing stiffness test shows this to be a medium flex racket. Okay, so you have the specifications. The additional information you might want to know is the maximum string tension on this racket is 32 pounds. Obviously being Li-ning, this is made in China. Frame is made of carbon fiber, and the grip, everything else is pretty much standard. Manufacturing process doesn't tell us any more than that really. Dynamic optimum frame. Yeah, that's all there is on it. In terms of the design, it's a matte white finish, really decent, high quality finish racket, and I think, yeah, similarly to the turbocharging 75, has this kind of paint effect that changes colour in the light or angle you look at it at. So it's nice, really nice quality racket. Not particularly exciting design, but certainly well finished and not offensive either. Really decently done, but just not as exciting as perhaps the Kawasaki's or some of the other Li-nings that we've seen in the past. Take a look at these images and see what you think for yourself. Okay, specifications are done. Let's go to the E-Zone. Okay, so before we start our E-Zone testing, what do you need to know about how we test our rackets? Well, first of all, we use the same shuttles, the Yonex AS30s on all tests. We re-string all of the rackets with Yonex BG65 at 25 pounds tension, and it's the same player taking all of the shots. Right, now you have some basic understanding of how we test. Let's move on to the smash test. The smash shot that you're seeing here, and for all of the rackets we've tested within Badminton Racket Reviews E-Zone, we take generally 6 shots. We take the 2 highest racket shuttle speeds, and we average those to give us a overall speed. If those 2 those two readings are not within a certain percentage of each other, we then retake the entire test. This shot measures the shuttle speed coming off the racket head, and also if you go across to the E zone, you'll see a picture similar to the one you're looking at on the screen now, which accompanies every single racket within the E zone, so that's nearly 650 or more rackets, with this kind of smash JPEG showing you the racket head speed, the shuttle speed, the distance, and the approximate repulsion of the racket. Okay, now we're going to do an E-zone maneuver test. The maneuver shots was designed to tell us about the racket's acceleration abilities, its ability to shift from one direction to the other or shift quickly from nothing to full speed. It also tests the racket's aerodynamics. In this test, the player is sitting still with the racket, and once the shuttle is fired, and we measure the shuttle speed to ensure we have consistency within the tests, so it's coming at the same speed all the time, or roughly the same speed as much as we can control anyway. And then the player reacts once the shuttle is fired to hit the shuttle, and we are measuring the head speed of the racket during that test. Okay, so they're done. Now it's E-zone control test time. The control test is a simplistic test. We've thought many times if there was any other better way of creating a test where we are focusing on the control of the racket and able to score it, and we so far haven't come up with anything better. So this control test is essentially a test where we have 14 shots taken. You're not seeing all the shots on the control video. We generally film half or less of the shots taken. The green bucket here scores maximum, the grey scores slightly less, and anything in the net or out scores nothing at all. So what is our conclusion after testing this turbocharging 70 badminton racket? What do we think of it? Well, I think it's definitely sharper and quicker than the turbocharging 75. Nevertheless, there is this dullness, weight that you feel that kind of doesn't make it feel nimble. It doesn't make it feel lively. And I think the first thing that everyone looks for different things in rackets. Li-ning's main strength has always been their control. Rackets are amazing at control, and they're really very stable rackets, and I think Li-ning put a lot of focus on that, and that's lovely, that's really nice. But I personally, while you do want it to be a very stable racket, I personally look at the all-round game. We as a team look at the all-round ability of the racket. And the first telling sign for me is how lively the racket feels, how quick it's going to feel. And this racket doesn't feel particularly quick. That dullness sort of carries through in its performance. And you know, it's not just about weight. I used to put that down to weight, 93 grams, but Oliver has shown me that it's not down to weight. I tried those rackets out, and they defy their weight in terms of how they feel. I'm not saying they're like the world's best rackets, but they're much better than I expected them to be. And this does feel heavy and a little bit clunky. Its primary strength is its control levels. It's not going to offer you huge smashes. I've got the E-Zone page open here. I'm just looking at our smash JPEG for it. There's a possibility that if you manage to increase your airspeed, you will manage to increase your smash speed. That may sound obvious, but it's not as obvious as you may think it is. I'm looking at our smash JPEG and looking at specific figures telling you that. My concern would be most people will not be able to increase your airspeed and increase their smash capability, and even if they do, then there's the other all-round game to consider, which it's not particularly effective at. So your primary strength, if you're looking to buy this racket, will be control. At £150, 100% thumbs down from our perspective. Just too much out there, way too much out there to opt for this. I know this racket is used by the former international Zhang Nan, who is an Olympic gold medalist, but unless you train as hard as he does or did, unless you can put in the time and have the technique to be able to use a racket to the level that Zhang Nan can, then I would suggest stay clear of it. Cannot recommend it for simply not for the price. If it was half the price, even then I'd be struggling to say buy it. I just cannot see any reason to recommend it really. I'm looking at the other court testing results, what I'm looking at here, to see if there's any other great strengths, but again what really comes through is its controllability. It's not bad at defense and it's not bad in other areas, but not a champion and not worthy of £150. So I'm going to stick to my conclusion. I think it has potential for people with extraordinarily fast arm speed, but there's just too many other, including Li-ning. Li-ning do other rackets that's just better, irrespective of the price. So there's, my hands are tied in terms of recommending it. So I'm afraid to say this one's going to be a thumbs down. If you have this racket, you're playing with it, you're comparing it to other manufacturers or other Li-ning rackets, do leave a review. Let us know. If you're an E-Zone member, leave a review in the E-Zone. Thousands of people visit the E-Zone every month. Please leave a review. Let other people know what your thoughts are. If you're not an E-Zone member, then please do leave a review on any of our social media platforms so other people get an idea of what it is like to play from another person's perspective. Outside of that, if you're not an E-Zone member, there will be an E-Zone tour, video tour coming up after this video. But before you go, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for all the love and kindness, and thank you for some of the criticism. As long as it's fair and it's constructive and it's helpful to others, don't mind it. And it's it's really heartwarming, the corners of the planet that Badminton Racket Review is now reaching and gaining support from. Really amazing. Absolutely astonishing. Really appreciative of that. Do keep pressing the like button, do keep sharing the videos, keep up the support. Let's build a community where we are all after the same thing, and that is pure racket performance, irrespective of price, irrespective of manufacturer, irrespective of reputation. So that's our goal, that's what we're aiming towards, and we are hoping that we will equip you with the information you need to make better racket choices. So I think that concludes what we have to say about this racket today. See you on the next video. Thanks again for tuning in.